Hi everybody, my name is Matt and this is my new channel. We do movie reviews here and all kinds of various things, and today we're going to do the very first one. I'm going to talk about a little documentary that I watched on Netflix recently called The Secret Disco Revolution. This is a documentary that came out in 2012 by Jamie Kastner, and it attempts to sort of tell the story of disco music and how it got started. Now, I've always been a big fan of disco music. I mean, I'm not really ashamed to say it. You know, there were people that were around back when disco started that were definitely ashamed to say they liked disco. They thought it was kind of embarrassing, you know, guys going to school, going to college, oh yeah, I like that disco, you know. No, you didn't want to say that. You'd probably get beaten up for it or something. But, of course, over time, people have gone back and sort of learned to appreciate the music for what it was, and I quite like it. Not all of it, of course, but, I mean, there's certain bands, there's certain groups that I really enjoy. So, this is a documentary that, like I said, attempts to tell the story of disco music and how it got started, but there are some flaws, and we're going to talk about that today. Now, I watched this last night, sort of on a whim. I had seen it on Netflix before, but I never took the time to watch it. And I'd kind of been in a disco mood recently. I'd kind of been watching some like Casey and the Sunshine Band and listening to some of that. Like I said, I watched this last night, and I have to tell you, you know, as a guy that is kind of into disco music and wanted to learn more about the history behind it, this is an interesting documentary. I think it's good for people that kind of want an introduction to how it got started. They want to learn about some of the clubs, the famous clubs like Studio 54, and you know, they do interview a lot of great people. They talk to actually a lot of famous disco artists. They talk to Wayne Casey, they talk to Thelma Houston, they talk to the Village People. Robert Bell from Kool and the Gang is interviewed. Gloria Gaynor is interviewed. So a lot of great disco stars. They also talk to authors that have written books on disco, and they talk to DJs from the clubs. They talk to a lot of record producers, record executives, and that's what really kind of makes this documentary worth watching, is that it's not just some cheaply put together, like, you know, on a budget, you know, documentary where they just get a bunch of people in suits to come on and be like, well, I think that disco music was really, the thing that made disco music important was the people, that, you know, people you've never heard of. They actually get real people, real artists who had hits in that era that talk about what was going on, talk about the music, talk about the clubs, talk about the atmosphere, and that's what I like. Now, I will admit, I really like hearing more from the actual artists and musicians than I do from like the authors and the people that are just like, oh, well, I have a degree in music history or something, so I'm qualified to talk, you know. No, I like hearing from people like Wayne Casey, you know. I like to hear what Gloria Gaynor had to say about I Will Survive. And, you know, I like to hear about Thelma Houston or Evelyn Champagne King, you know, people that only had like maybe one major hit, you know. And this is a documentary, though. The problem I have with this is it tries to be two things, or actually it's not really sure what it wants to be, because it's called The Secret Disco Revolution. So the way I like to describe it is it's part documentary on the history of disco and part conspiracy theory style film. I don't know if a lot of you have ever watched a lot of shows like on Discovery Channel, or I think History Channel has a lot of them, or if you're into that whole conspiracy theory type stuff. Me, personally, I'm not really into a lot of that. Some of it's interesting, you know, like people like saying that they saw, you know, a satellite in outer space or they thought they saw alien life forms. Some of that stuff's kind of interesting, you know, and you wonder. But a lot of that stuff, to me, is just like some guy just going around saying, well, you know, I'm telling you that they really buried Jimmy Hoffa under the football stadium or whatever. Like, who knows? But, you know, some of those conspiracy theory type films and documentaries go a little too far. This one is just kind of weird because it attempts to make the statement or the case that there was some kind of secret underground organization that was trying to turn disco music onto the public, you know, like it was a government type thing. Kind of like, you know, people say the government brainwashes people or brainwashed people. Well, they kind of make the case that, you know, there was some underground movement, some group that was trying to like brainwash people into listening to disco and to liking disco, and that's the part that kind of turns me off. So I think this is a great little documentary. If you want a nice little introduction to disco music, I'd say it's not bad. It's about half and half, and if you take away the half that's all the lame, stupid reenactments and the government and political propaganda, and you leave the other half, then you have a nice little documentary on the history of disco music and why it was important. So that's The Secret Disco Revolution. It's on Netflix. Check it out if you're into that type of music. And thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, be sure to like, comment, subscribe to this channel. Tell all your friends because there's going to be a lot more videos to come, and I hope you'll enjoy them. Thank you.